Well, first of all, I have to say about Lost Rivers. You all listen only one composition, which is 7 or 8 minutes long. But this album is more than 50 minutes long. It has a lot of compositions inside. And they are all very, very different than from this one. Of course, people might say, yeah, what for this is, But it is like yin-yang. It shows the other side that was maybe not often sounded out, I was recording this album, Lost Rivers, in 1993, in the time when in Russia was a big catharsis, politically, economically, and among a lot of people's mind. Suddenly, communistic system was falling down, and nobody knew what's going on. The shops was empty. There was no food. There was poverty and hunger, a real hunger. I was, of course, trying to help my family. Everything what I was earning, I was buying food, I was buying warm clothes, I was carrying everything back to Tuva to give to my relatives, trying at least a little bit to help them. And besides that, when they asked me in Berlin, when Jost Gebers and Peter Kohl asked me, so okay, now the compositions, can you kind of express this tragedy inside? Sometimes we sit and we talk and he just see in my eyes or in my face, I have pain. I didn't know also how to express this. I didn't know how to help the whole country. My poor little Tuva. We had to have these small papers, stand in line. My old parents had to stand in line hours and hours just to get this small little piece of bread. You know how painful it is. It hurts so much, and I was just making you cannot say anything when there's such thing happening. You don't know how to help the whole country. So I was just crying it out to leave it as a part of history. Of course, now is a different time, and now when something is not functioning the way I want, I can switch off this sound and I listen. I don't sing like that now, but sometimes when something is not working, I needed to, how to say, to work it out in my head. So I listen to this, of course, But in the moment when I was recording in the studio, I was just taking this cracking sound and I was working like an instrument, just taking this emotion aside and looking at my own sound, emotion in the distance. Just working with it like any instrumentalist would work with a score. So you just take it apart and you look at your solo and you try to compose something that is kind of expressing what's kind of feeling, sadness it is. Of course it's not so easy, but there is an art in our human history. Very, very rough. Very, very painful. So that's how I was making, let's say, therapy to myself, just cry it out. Cry out. And then after they made this special therapy in Germany, they made rooms with all covered with mattresses, and they let people scream out. They close the door, they don't listen, they don't record, they just leave person there and they give the chance to word out, scream out everything. Then the person is coming out, and the therapist is talking to him, saying, okay, now you have a bit tiredness, let's work on